World. We're back at it. So let me open my notepad. Holy, that is bright and extremely bright. Pure white. Okay, here we go. I love not remembering to put my phone on D&D. It's fine. I'm gonna reach over and do it now. Yeah. I don't know. I missed you guys, but I'm in a weird mood today, so I'm just gonna start giving feedback because I'm sure that'll get me back with my head on straight. I'm like cropped so poorly in this. Holy shit! Wait. There we go. That's better. Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody. There we go. Here we go. First up, Kelly B, love you, whip. So yeah, full length, but needs some work. Any feedback would be awesome. Happy to hear it. Full length is good. Full length is good length. Super sick. Need some work. I love it. It's full length though. I love this. This is so cool. Where is it? Oh, that's so hype. So hype. I think overall this is like a really, really solid track. I'll start off with a small creative thing, which is this. Like in here, I would love to hear some sort of very soft belly type of sound. It's just very, very stereo, so it's very far to the outside and just like a doom, 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 doom. It can like follow your chord progression. It could be a middle note in your chord progression. Like you can follow the top note. It could be something else. It could be some little extra harmony. You can kind of do whatever you want with it. The point would just be to have it fill out a bit of that stereo space because it's very open right now. And it would complement this initial dun, 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 without interrupting it or distracting from it. It'd just be like a soft thing to help add more space and more dimension to the whole thing. And I think actually something like that would help you focus more on the vocal. Because you have some of these elements in here, but I just think one, like, extra one panned out all the way would be really cool. Drop, I don't have too many comments on the first one. Specific here, when you do this tuk, 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 I feel like it has a little, it's kind of missing impact. It feels kind of weirdly cut off. And I like the whole envelope as an idea. This like really short stabby da, 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 da. It contrasts this. But it doesn't really hit. So I do wonder if you take it off of this same synth sound, this tuk 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 tuk, and maybe try a different sound design on it, because that might solve the issue. And I think it also would help you build a little bit more contrast, because this whole first drop, it's all the same type of sound. So it would be a little nice to have some contrast. And I know you've got the sound design chops for it, so I would say just experiment a little bit more and see if there isn't some, even if it's not like a complete like divergence from the sound, just transforming it a bit, I think would make a huge difference, giving it a bit of a different shape, something that fits more into this really stabby, short envelope. And I think you'll be in a good spot. I really, really love this. It's so not exactly what you expect, and yet it fits perfectly. Really well done. Really happy to hear like a full song. And it's not like crazy extensive either. You've just taken exactly what it needs and made it happen. Full arrangement. It's perfect. You don't need to do a huge, big setup. We just need a bit of a break so that we can come back. I will say this maybe could maybe be a little bit lower in energy, actually. If you wanted to, I guess. But again, I didn't listen to this and think like, oh man, this is like, the breaks are so short. It's just, when you think about it logically, it could be nice to step down the energy so it's a bit more diverse. But overall, great tune. Hello. Hello, Dying Away. Another account, I see. We're spamming accounts. I'm good, man. Good, how are you? Alright, let's see. We got a track from Haze. No description. This is going to be rather experimental, I think. Why is this image so... Wow. Switch it up. What the fuck is that? We getting something melodic now? Oh, I love this. Well, goddamn. That's crazy. I'm not even sure what specifically to say to this. I think here, for some reason I want a slightly different kick. something with a little bit more like a little subbier of a kick. Just like, and I want it to be a little bit longer somehow, like a boom, because right now it's boom, 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 boom. I want it to be like boom, 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 like a little bit more. I don't know. I just want more tail somehow. It's really like more that part where it goes from thumpy to tail. That to be like a little bit more like, I don't know. I think that would feel nicer. But I might also just be straight up wrong. Experiment with it. I wonder if like a Hatsune Miku vocal would go well over this intro, and then fit into these like gaps between. Because then the nice thing is you could take it, plop it over this, and it would be angelic as hell. So I feel like it could work across the whole track. I don't know why that's where my mind went, but it just seems like it could be fun. Spectral Gate, oh my lord. It didn't even occur to me that that might be what's going on, but yeah. It's just like you go from this very dissonant thing into... which honestly works, and then... do you think this whole section could be a lot fatter? Like, I think it just could be a little bit more saturated on the whole to have a little bit richer mids. And a little bit more mid bass so that it kind of just, the whole thing pops a bit more and kind of, I think here as well, it's a bit too much high end. But maybe that's kind of how you want it to sound, I'm not sure. I feel like my feedback today is so weak, it's just like, it's okay, I don't know, go next. But I don't know what else to say about this. It's cool, but I do think, if we're talking about like, okay, I'm gonna go and listen to a song. It's missing a little bit of this like, almost like meme factor or meta factor to bring me in to listen to this specific song. I don't know that I'd pick this song out and be like, okay, I need to go listen to that song. It's the one that's stuck in my head. Because this is good. I don't know if it's quite catchy enough that I'm going to be like, oh my god, I have to go listen to that section and go through this whole thing. So yeah, I think if you can find some way to give this like an almost meta aspect, like some fourth wall break, you know, because it doesn't quite read as like a serious track in the sense that you talk about like, I don't know, like I'm gonna go listen to a Martin Garrix song. It's to me like a serious, like it's just, you're just listening to it for the music. Here, having a little bit of like a meta read into it, some memification of it, might actually work quite well. Might tune you in more with an audience. I'm missing a Dirty Palm lead, in my honest opinion. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Ignore all my other feedback. Dirty Palm lead, send it. Walkus Reflection, but Walkus on this stone 3D model looking stuff. Time to get a copyright strike. Okay, yeah, worth. Really lovely resampling of this. Whoa.
I had a clutch on a magnum.
What? What am I listening to so much? Was passiert?
So as if I had a clutch on a magnum.
Could really use Dirty Palm lead though. I'm convinced Walker's invented sound waves. You guys. Okay. I've got like most of my comments are like, I think this is such a cool idea. Like I love the resampling of this. It's such a nicely done thing. I do think the drops are a bit messy. Like it just feels like there's a lot going on, which is fine. Specifically though here, it's with these like snare rolls that I'm getting super confused because it constantly feels like it's a setup for something that never quite gets delivered on. And so ultimately what ended up happening to me is like, compared to normally what I get out of your songs, I just didn't feel particularly satisfied. It just felt like there was never really a resolution. It was like this permanent red herring of like, oh, something is gonna like come that's like repeating and satisfying, and then it just never did. Despite the synths doing a lot of cool stuff, like everything else in here is doing really cool. But it just feels like this whole section from like wherever this is, like from like 220 until we get to here is just like very teasing. And I would say it's almost a little bit annoying. It goes on for a bit too long on one idea, to be honest. The variations are not enough to justify doubling the length. Yeah, that's fair. It's like a cool little fill, but then it's the whole song. Exactly. So that's kind of where I'm sitting with this. I think it's still like cool, but I think maybe just trimming out some sections. Because in fact, I think trimming out some of this drop and then putting this and committing to like one style of fake out, and trying to make the thing a little bit more cohesive in terms of where it's like picking something and then repeating it, at least enough that it feels like a proper loop, and resolving that and then moving on to the next thing would be, I think that's the suggestion that would make it more pleasing as a conventional song. If you want to leave it as like a really experimental kind of weird offshoot remix of this ringtone, then that's fine. But yeah, I definitely think like the drum patterns in here. Because like here, after this, ting, the bum bum bum, like just like a straight 4/4 hard kick would go really, really hard, and it's kind of what my brain is itching for, and never quite get it until we get to here, where there's just like, then it's like this back to this like choppy style of thing. Yeah, I kind of wish I had more to say, but that's most of what my notes are. Just like, it feels difficult to follow. Yeah. All right, I guess we're moving on. No yap session yet. Scary jump scare. What is this thing? I'm very happy with the break and build up. Drop not so sure, so I haven't figured out a good melody or what to do with that. I've analyzed a lot of songs I love. I just can't recreate those sounds. Yeah, it's difficult. I always have a long description. That's okay. Context is good. Did the drop come with you? Or... comes with a drop. Good. Okay, I see what you mean with the struggling with the chords. Or like struggling with the sound design. Because it feels like the chords are very just saws. I think from my knowledge of this, it feels like you're missing bass design. You're missing good mid-bass design because a surprising amount of super saw chord stacks is not about the super saw. It's not about the super saw. It's actually about having a really crispy set of mid basses that are going to mix in together with the chords and give them like a lot of texture and emotion, but they're not going to do like all of the notes of your chords. You still need some super saws to fill in that space, but they're filling in the space. They're not actually the only main sound. I think it's really easy to be like super saw. Oh, you just put in the super saw and it goes, and then you're like, why doesn't that work? So I would say focus actually on your bass design and actually designing individual lead layers as well that go into your chords but aren't playing all of the notes. Because that's another strategy I've seen quite a few like future bass, mellow, dubstep artists do. And I used to do as well. Is like take one set of notes from your chord progression and design an individual sound for it or get an individual lead for it. And it's not going to read like an individual lead. It's going to feel like part of the chord stack, but it's going to give your chord stack way more dimension. Versus this, which just feels very washed. The first note actually is good. But it says, once we start moving around, we realize that it's all kind of just one stack that doesn't really feel fully developed. And ironically could have a DP lead though. Like one of the squarey ones. One of them clean palm. Clean palm leads. What are we talking about? As far as the break is concerned, I think it's fine. I think your guitar is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I think if you want to stick with the guitar vibe, if you have a couple of like little like licks, so like a couple of small melodies that are not hard panned, but are just like layering in with this main guitar and are more spaced out, so you stereo image them, or I would say like pan them like 20 to the left or 15 to the right or more. You got to pick what sounds good. And then I would just add like a good amount of reverb so that they get pushed, or whatever reverb you're using for your break, just give them a good amount of it so that they get pushed further to the back of the mix, perception wise. So you leave the middle one pretty dry, and the extra little guitar licks that you add get more reverb, get pushed out to the sides and to the back of the mix. So they just add without taking too much away from your main guitar. This vocal has a little bit too much high end. She's like it's all, and we need a little bit more of that like body of like the mid range where her voice is, to make her sound more present and a little bit more like make her voice feel more powerful and emotional. Because if you just keep adding top end for the clarity, she's gonna end up sounding kind of overly like breathy and like not even raspy, but just like very sibilanty and like, you know, not really deep and emotional and powerful. Like if I'm just gonna boost where her voice needs to get popped up, because I already hear it where it is. Yeah. Hear how her voice all of a sudden just like comes through the middle more. You're also getting still too much of a guitar, because the guitar is also taking up space in that 1000 to 2000 range. But her voice needs to get boosted up in that, like, it's probably like 1.8K around there, and then also around like 1.2K, probably again around like 700 or 800 hertz. I'm just taking a guess. You have to go and like then look at her voice and see where it actually feels good. But those are like in my head the places I think you should look initially and see where her voice is going. My track is uploading very slow. Yes, sir. All right, bet. I love it sometimes, like it translates your guys' messages. So for some reason, it just says orphan, when in fact you said yes, sir. Loving your work, Google. Loving your work. Okay, to add more depth. Yep, true. And yeah, this thing with the vocal, it'll just help you like get a much punchier vocal sound. Yeah, I think that's it. I think if you take those two big points and work on them, you'll be in a much better spot. I don't know that there's more I want to add to your list here. Oh, I love this cover. This is so cool. House head. This is so sick. Still need full arrangement. The vibes are there. Whoa, let's go. Wobbly Hans Claire lead. Let's go.
You can talk about your friends with someone else. You know I could use some quiet for my health. So you can talk about your friends all by yourself.
What a nice kick.
Sorry.
I hate you, Hans Claire.
I hate you, Hans Claire. Sorry.
Based. Absolutely based. What a great sample to add in there. Dude, this is so cool. This in Geometry Dash or love your vocals. Tom Cardy, if he's good. I don't know who that is, clearly, because they're not good. I'm not even sure where specific to add stuff. Because honestly, I don't mind the tape noise here. Or like the extra like white noise. Which sounds like it's from an analog like emulation or it's probably some sort of analog emulation, whether it's processing or the instrument that just has a bunch of hiss in it, but it's not nice. Not nice.
Get you some quiet for my hand.
The vocal production is great. The thing could be a bit louder because it doesn't. It's essentially, from the listener's perspective, replacing the vocal. So it's taking up the same space as the vocal, but it doesn't match it quite in loudness.
You can talk about your friends.
So it sits a little too low in the mix. So I would boost that up just to be a bit more forward and present.
One's clear.
And while this wobbly stuff works well for the intro, it if you prolong it too much, I think it gets too wobbly.
You know I could use some quiet.
So I think it would be nice if the beginning is like this. It sort of goes a little bit less wobbly in the middle of a song and then goes back to being wobbly again. So you have this sense of like we wobble. This is like the base place where we start. And then we go on a little side quest to like not wobbly town. And we find out that it's not even as fun there. And then we're like, actually, we're going back to being a house head. Boom, and then we just send it back into Wobble Town.
So you can talk about.
That might be the most cooked explanation of all time. Is my submission through? I've got 2 minutes and 1 minute if there's time left for that. 2 submissions, you dirty, dirty dog. I bet. Oh, this is a sick picture, holy. That is super cool. Apple fun fact, I miss. I actually love how it crops out the parts of the image. Oh no, don't, no, please, no. What is that? Vas! I think it's, wait, which is the long, wait, which one did you want me to, wait, I'm like losing my cue later Tetris theme. Thanks, Google. Be gone with you. Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, what's this? Project 14. Yeah, it's kind of cool, actually. I like the second half more. And, like, the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, why does it kind of have vibes to it? Like, it has like this nice bro old school like EDM sound to it, like from when we were kids, you know. Actually, the part in the chorus is resampled, but I can try to reverse engineer it to reduce the wobble. No, I think the wobble is fine. But I'm saying, like, when you go through and just to go back to Hans Clare for a second, when you're going back, or when you're designing the rest of the arrangement, I would say if you can figure out a way to just add sounds that aren't quite so wobbly, like, you can still have like that, but I think if you go to a place that's much more like that isn't so wobbly pitch wise, I think it makes it keeps the wobble cool because it's not always present, and it feels like it then by omission has a significance story-wise. You give it that sense of like, you know, this is part of the reason why this section is so impactful and so cool. you take it away, you're like, yeah, like all of a sudden now it's not wobbly, and like, it's just a different feeling. So you just get more contrast, and by more contrast, you get more vibes. More vibes is more goods is. I don't even know what to say to this, man. Finish it. Futterbonk. This cat is winking. Crazy. ID 4, 2. Wow. Oh my god, the pitch bends? Oh my god, this break. Wow, this is just mint. Nice. Wow. Okay then. I'm just so impressed by how nice this guitar is. Like, oh, another one? Yeah! Oh my god, these like, woo! The pitchiness of it is so cool. Wait a minute, I'm gonna EQ this. Now let's do it one more time. Sound different? Okay, so my main wait, let me read chat. The lead feels too static. Yeah, it is too static for sure. I think this is like Kunky's typical lead that they go for, because I've heard it quite a few times. I feel like it's very like white noisy, but I don't know. I tend not to with Kunky go on to your like dog on you for your for your sound design, because I know you've been making this stuff on FL Studio Mobile, which in and of itself should earn you like a Nobel Prize. I think for me, like, the guitar is good. The breaks could be, I feel, a little bit louder. They're a bit quiet. And I've done a bunch of EQing to the whole mix. Basically, I think there's still like a lot of noise on the leads. The leads do need a bit more mids, so a bit more mid-range compared to like, you know, all of his high-end stuff. And then I think also a bit more sub bass will help balance out how much top end you have, which is pretty much the EQ I've done here. It's just like boosting some sub, boosting a bit of mids, boosting just like the high highs, so that then I could take down that like area between like 6K and 9K, which can get quite hissy. Yeah, it's in queue, Dirty Octopus. And quite stuck on further production. Would love to have it reviewed. Absolutely. Whatever I can do to help my guy. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting with this Kunky. I don't think you need a vocal. I think the builds are great. This is like a really quality track. I think it's just getting the lead in there. And I think if you wanted to take this track to the next level, investing some time experimenting with some more lead sound design and getting some more interesting leads would really help, because I think that's most of what's separating your track from like a bunch of other tracks. It's just the quality of the sound design and your drops. I think your composition is fantastic. It's better than most artists that do release on labels and stuff. It's like so cool. So it seems a shame to be held back purely by the sound design. But also, I get it. FL Studio Mobile, bro. What the hell? Okay. I'm just gonna look away from this. Like, cover it. My screen. Okay. Real trap shit. Let's take a listen. Okay. Yeah, let's go, boy. Really big fan of these like lasers and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I would say this is a sick track. You're like making big strides here. Like this is way different level of quality and like creativity than I've heard from you yet. Super cool. Super sick. I'm gonna start off with like the fact that it's kind of missing a bit of theme. Like there isn't really a like theme going on here. Where you're like, oh, it's that track with the thing. It's like there's nothing here that like makes it specifically like identifiable. And I feel like you always notice this as well in what people name their stuff. If people have like a name already in their head, sometimes it's like a lyric from like a Spice vocal. Sometimes it's just like a temp name. But real trap shit doesn't mean anything. It defines this. It's like we've got the idea that it's like a hard trap tune, but there's no further theme beyond the drop. And so you have a lot of space here where it's just you can kind of tune it out because it doesn't really mean anything yet. So I would see how you can take this and like really like upgrade it, make it more exciting and more thematic, and have it sell your drop more. And that might be a thing where you just listen to other trap tunes and you say, actually, this thing that Kyokon said, completely irrelevant. Or you listen to other tunes and you're like, okay, maybe I can like take something like this or something like this and bring in some more of that theme. Give it some more, something more identifiable and sharp. I think in your second drop, there's like two things going on. One is I think the sub could just be more impactful. Your kick is fine. It's just the sub. It just feels like it's not keeping up. So you might need a slightly tighter sidechain for the sub to help it really pop through. And it almost sounds like the sub is like fluttering all the time because it's like trying to start playing the sub on every single note. So what I would suggest is if it isn't already set up like this, have one long singular sub note that just only interacts with the sidechain, because that might be a whole lot louder and a whole lot better. Because you already have other stuff creating rhythm. You don't need the sub to also echo that rhythm. That's my current thoughts on it. Hello, Kyokon. Hello, Mora. Yeah, that's basically my thoughts on this. Oh, also the ending is like very sudden. I think you need to telegraph a little more or like prep a little bit more. Also, I think this drop can be longer. I don't think it needs to stop here. It feels a bit short for this style of drop. Usually you can go another 16 bars with this, and those 16 bars should be your cooldown period. Like, I never like extended mixes, but you can take the concept of an extended mix and just make it part of the song. Of the idea that it's like a cooldown bit, which for this type of track I think would work great. Alright, next up, Veni Vidi Vici. Let's go. Bass drum. Ooh. Wow, nice. This is cool as well. Now it's starting to feel long though. You need something else in there. Yeah, okay. What the fuck? I think it's interesting as well. Okay, I'm just gonna jump right in. One, this is really, really cool. I can see why you wanted me to review this track, because it's super, super sick. There's so much cool stuff. It feels like a full track, maybe because it's longer than 15 seconds, but it's really cool. I would say definitely, I think you heard me mention it, but here, once we got to exactly this point, I was like, okay, this is now too long. So I think you just need to be a little bit more concise, maybe shorten this by about 5 to 10 seconds. And you'll condense it enough to where this doesn't feel boring. Because it's like, oh, okay, something interesting is happening and your attention span is there, but you do have to clue in that something is going on without me knowing it, that we're going somewhere. And this is like, okay, the car is on, and now what? And here, I think you realize that, like, this car, like, the sound of it driving away is not really connected to the car going, vroom, doing a drive-by. So I think the idea of, like, and then I think you go, and then you go, and then this Doom section is so good. Now, it is mixed like trash. Like, it is mixed like a potato. But as long as you use, like, Doom Eternal's soundtrack as a mix reference, it's going to sound so good. Like, it's going to be such a cool section. Because you saw my face. I was like, damn, this is sick. This hits. It's just so overly crunchy, and, like, you don't really get to feel any of the harmonics in your chest. Like, if this were to play on a big speaker, you wouldn't feel it in your chest. And you want to have that feeling that it's, like, sitting there. You're like, doo, 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 doo. Not like, boo, boo, boo. You know, you want to feel that bassiness of it, that intensity of it. What else was in my notes? This section as well, like, I think it's the drums here that don't work for me. They just feel a bit underwhelming. And the section is kind of long without much going on. Because this bass line itself for me was not enough to make it exciting. It's not intense enough, it's not moving enough. Like, it's neither so in and of itself purely exciting, because it's not really settled, I guess. It doesn't feel like a sub bass. It's sort of this, like, in between mid bass that's filtered, but then it's also not moving. Like, the filter's not really going anywhere. So you just kind of feel like it's this static in-between thing. And then I just think these drums are not quite exciting. I would try switching them out for something that's a little bit more urban. And like, I don't know, my immediate thought is like dark alleys with graffiti, like really cool street style percussions. Because the orchestrally angled stuff can work as well, but some pots and pans sometimes just sound way more exciting. Also, this does not sound like a drop. It does not read like a drop, so I thought this was an extension of the build-up until I realized that it was kind of the drop. Alright, I don't know, it just feels a bit... It's just difficult to tell what's going on. Like, am I supposed to be dancing to this? Am I supposed to be thinking to this? Am I supposed to be... Am I waiting for the next thing to come? Or what's going on here? Now, this part, however, very cool. I do think as well this should be more telegraphed. And that's more about automation. About like, you don't want to be like, ding, 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 snare roll, something is coming. Like, you're not ringing the bell, but it's about like taking everything else that's going on in your drop and slowly like vignetting it out of the way. So just like constraining it and taking it into this orb so that you can go. So that you get this movement in the sense of like, okay, we're going to something else. Without it being like, we're going, guys. Like, in 15 seconds, we will go to a different drop. Like, you don't need to tell. You just need it to feel like it's going somewhere. I'll remove the trunk loading part and mix the metal part better. I think the trunk loading part is actually fine. Because I think it's okay. I thought the second build-up was a bit boring, but I don't know what I can do with it to keep it exciting. Sometimes you might just change it all the way. Does this sound like a call section repeating? Maybe I should do call and response thing like ABB, ACC. Yeah, I think that might work better. Yeah, it doesn't really ring quite as a thing. So it just kind of like no. But and even this, you could use this as like this whole sound once you've really tuned it to sound more doomy. Because you've got this riff going, which is great. This riff is great. But if you took this sound and took a piece of this riff and augmented it to be like your... So you do A, B, B, B. So you do A, B, B, C, A, B, B, D. That could also be quite a cool structure to do. Or you do A, B, 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 A, C, C, or... Yeah, you could do A, B, 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 A, B, 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 A, C, C, D. So you get like a lot of variation. But I think A, B, B, C, A, B, B, D could be even more fun. I feel like that would be the one that's like most simple and repeatable, but also has enough variation to be catchy. And I think those C and D parts you could do with this be like the start of this riff, and then it goes, it does something a little bit more intense with more movement in the notes for the turnaround. And yeah, this like... And yeah, what I was saying before about this trunk thing, it's not really this. This is fine. It's this. Sitting there with the car on, at which point I was just like, okay. So I think, yeah, if you can take a little bit out of here and a little bit of this, shorten it between here and here, I think that'd be my version of ideal. Hello guys, hello Kunky. But yeah, I think that's all my notes. Yeah, loving this Transformer style. sick. Alright, next up we got a Mura track. Yeah, this is me at work. Coping. It's like a very cheerful, almost 80s style chord progression. Sorry, I'm trying to like... Yeah, you don't need to add an extra drop just to make it 3 minutes long. In this day and age, a 2-minute track length is not abnormal. Do whatever makes the song sound cool. And if that means there's 3 drops that fit into one song, great. If it means there's 5 drops, great. As long as they like feel respectful and exciting and keep adding to each other, and they don't feel like they're just like added there for the sake of it, that's good. But just adding one for the sake of it doesn't make sense. For this song, Mora, I think it's quite cool. I don't love this like... This snare feels very temporary. I think the chord progression is fine. The chord sound just feels a bit... Nah. It feels very static and like not exciting to me. The vocal should also technically be louder. This kick is not quite loud enough because you don't have really... It doesn't read well. It almost feels like a song with sidechain but no kick on it. Because the kick is so quiet. Great though. I think the melody's a little all over the place. If you go back to this A part is fine. It's like A, B, A, C. I think it's this like C part for me that's like really... And the B part. I would rework this B part, because the A part is quite good. Like that is cool. It just feels like this B part doesn't really resolve it. It's kind of just happens next to it. And the C part is for me a bit the same. Like it doesn't really have a great response. You have like a good call, but not a great response. So you end up with this like in between, like I guess that's fine, but not really. Doesn't really make me have like a deep feeling. And it doesn't also make me super want like the C part especially doesn't really make me want to restart the loop. It's not one of those where I'm like, oh my god, I want to go on this whole journey again. It's just like, okay, I guess we are, but I don't have that same like deep-seated desire to go again. Hopefully that makes sense. Sorry if it just feels like I'm ripping into you. I'm not. The lead feels kind of off though. I think it needs more compression to keep all the layers glued tight together. That for sure. It needs more production overall. There's just more compression, more saturation that's needed to like give it that oomph. I think probably as well like a little bit more of like ear candies in here to glue the whole song together, or like a whole drop together, but I usually don't comment on that stuff when it's clearly just like, I made a cool little ID. Does it make sense? When we're still like messing about with melodies and stuff. Yeah. This really is such a cool picture. I love it. Love this gradient. Alright. Okay, it has a name.
Sometimes I feel.
Sometimes I don't.
Sometimes I feel. Sometimes I feel. Sometimes I feel. Sometimes I feel. Sometimes.
Yeah. Whoa.
Sometimes I.
What? Ooh. Love that. They're very cool. Abrupt ending, but hey.
Sometimes I feel.
I like this intro as well. The intro is like different.
Sometimes I feel.
I think you get also the glitchiness over immediately with this like vocal stuttering stuff. So it's immediately tells like, hey, by the way, this is the feeling or the effect of this whole track. The theme of this whole thing, which is great. Great. Like, see, this is the percussions I imagined you were going to use in the other track. Like this style of a little bit more fast, choppy. Not exactly like this. Like, I still wanted it to be more urban and more put like not clean studio drums, but like something that's a little bit like dirtier. But anyway. I just don't listen to Neuro, so this is like not the thing that gets me like super excited. It just sounds like a lot and very intense. But I will say it's well executed, I think.
Sometimes
I think this is my favorite part though. This because it immediately for me gave me like a visual in my head. Like I immediately started to see like broken Nintendos and like GameCubes and stuff like that. Like I started to see things that were like that type of sound is like a very specific vibe and association, and so you immediately get something that's more distinct and thematic that you add into your song. This like software running away, and I think that those type of sounds are exactly what people tune into a particular song for, because there's probably thousands of tracks that have cool neuro bass fills, but it's your song that includes this, and immediately you have this like sense of story and being grounded in a very particular vibe, and one that, for example, I, who don't listen to this type of genre, also connected with. So hopefully that makes sense. You got inspired by UK Garage ringing FX? Yeah, that. Yeah, for sure. That's great. This is why listening to multiple genres is important. Because you get a whole different subset of like stuff that you listen to, that you get affected by. It could be chaotic. I lied, this is not Tetris theme. Oh, okay, I see how it is. I see how it is. Alright, let's listen to a Dirty Palm song. Whoa. This is so cool. What? I love this melody. Like even this. I just don't love this. I feel like this could be ended differently. This like something more expressive instead of just repeating the same one that we've repeated now quite a few times. I think it does need actually like a variation or like a specifically like a rhythm change, because I think even the notes would be fine. But it's just missing like one extra dimension of like melody perfection. This is where we need our boy Dalek the melody wizard, to tell us how to fix the melody. But it's cool. I mean, let's do it again. Also, just like all the rest of the production is sick. Melodic dubstep filling coming. Alright. Is that it? Alright, everybody. We're out of tunes. And that means I get to go have dinner. I get to be released from my prison. I get to go and have sustenance. Thank God. Because I am starving. I am fucking hungry. Oh my goodness. What are you eating? I actually need to go to the store and I need to buy the ingredients to make beef burrito. And then I'm also going to buy the stuff to make French toast sticks. If it's food, let me know. No, it's not food. It's not food. Not food at all. You wouldn't know the food it is. You've never had a food before. Yeah. Okay. Oh man. Oh man. Thank you guys for a great stream. Classic, simple stream. And yeah, I'm gonna go eat my definitely not food. And I should be back next week. Yeah. Hopefully I'm not as tired as I am this week, but I'm not holding out a bunch of hope because I know this week we've got quite a hard shooting week, so I'm gonna be like for the next five days. Will you eat food then? Maybe at work I might eat some food, but I will keep it a secret from you, so you have to keep guessing. You'll never really know. Have you eaten food? Will you eat food? When will you eat food? Alright guys, I'll see you later. Goodbye. Bye bye.